What's up, today? This is Jeff.
This is David.
Hi, David.
Hey, Jeff.
Let's play East 9, Monstrum Nox. I enjoy East video games. It is a game series that I wish had a higher budget. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
Falcom's the little company that could.
It did.
They're kind of always. They could, yes, and do, and will.
All right.
But they've always been in the shadow of things like Square Enix that can put out a lot of money into a thing. This game, for example, we're playing a PS4 version here. I think that there's going to be a PC version later, but it'll say it does not have the fidelity of a Final Fantasy VII remake, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have any charm.
Right.
So are not red-haired because we broke out of prison, and this is how you can't tell it's Adol because he has, quote, black hair. It's really anime dark blue, but perfectly fine.
Wait, that is Adol?
Style. This is Adol.
No, it's not.
Adol Chris is. You know what? Maybe it's the Crimson King. Okay.
Oh.
Anyways,
wait, why is this?
I feel like this. This little dungeon here is a great microcosm for, I think, is most of the appeal of the game.
Mm-hmm.
This is in chapter 2. Is very early on. We don't even have any party members yet.
Mm-hmm. What's that on your arm?
That's a Pickard.
Ah.
Very important to go into the shops in town and get the costume animals and then attach them to your characters.
Right.
It's very important.
Ooh.
We're still in the tutorial position here, but if we equip, we can go to the costume here, and we could not have it riding on our arm, or we could have it riding on our arm, and I think that this is the correct decision. So, basic premise is instead of being shipwrecked, you get arrested by the Romans when you enter the town of Balduc, and then after you stage a prison break, you get shot with a magic gun by an anime lady with sort of a one-wing motif, as you do.
Right.
And then you're given superpowers because they wanted to make a game that was like, sort of like gothic superheroes in a sort of like a light version of an Ubisoft open world.
Okay.
But the rest of it is all. Oh, hold on, Lee. There was some audio from the TV coming through. Hopefully that's fixed now. Okay.
Oop.
Yeah. Oops. Hopefully it's not too much in the. Yeah, it'll be fine. That's what audio processing is for.
Right.
But yes, we're quote cursed with superpowers.
Right.
Where you just magically get an awesome outfit and can teleport to these spots. And then you're called into a Persona 3 like midnight hour to fight monsters. The titular Monstrum Nox.
Oh yeah.
Technically, it's the Grimwald Nox. It's not the Monstrum Nox. The Monstrum Nox is plot related. But anyways.
All right.
But yeah, you get basically right at the beginning. You have all of your fancily designed anime folks. Those are all your party members, and it's a simple conceit where you have the sort of like the superhero versions of them, and then the regular citizen versions of them, your alter egos. And each chapter basically, for like the first few chapters, it focuses on one of them and some of their struggles, and you kind of find out a little bit more about them and so forth. And you know what? It's so simple, but every time it's like, oh right, that over-designed anime character that looked identical to the superhero was the alter identity of the superhero. It's like, it's so simple, but it works on me every time. I was like, oh yeah, Clark Kent is just glasses.
Right.
It's just some glasses. That's no big.
Right. And it's a Falcom game, so it plays nice.
Yes. This is it has a lot in common with Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana, which we did a video on. We did not do a full playthrough or anything. That game's great.
Yeah.
And this game's good too. I'm playing on hard, which is, I don't know, I kind of recommend it. It's a little, let's see if I can actually get a block here. Come on. Yeah, I did it. Yeah.
So you still get to do flash guard.
Yeah, so you still have the dodge and the guard. Yeah, flash move, which increases your speed until it runs out, and then flash guard, which is the parry system, which it doesn't have its own animation, so that you can just kind of do it whenever. Like, I get it.
Wasn't that in
You kind of see the little circle.
6 where that started?
I don't know where it started because I've never played 6 or 7. I've only really watched people do like the East Origins and then the Celceta stuff, and and then the only one I've actually played all the way through was 8.
Right.
So I'm not really sure, but this is definitely very similar to 8 in a lot of ways, more so than just the way that the combat kind of works. The party stuff works similarly into 8 as well, so once you do have other people, they're on the field and at odd times, but you can just hit one button to switch and you just kind of magically become them to use their combos instead. That's all nice. Let's do a little boss fight here. This is still kind of tutorial-y stuff, so this is not particularly difficult. I would recommend playing on hard just because it is a good balance between being like too frustrating because there's like 7 difficulties or something stupid where you just basically it's like always block everything or you just instant die. But then fight the monsters for like 7 hours. So this one is at least like you take 1 or 2 hits and you'll still be dead. So you do want to make sure that you're positioning correctly, but it's not so unforgiving that you'll die instantly. But also it's not so easy that it's just button mashy, but it's still, the flavor still leans towards button mashing.
Right. Okay.
So we've got our, as you can see there, we only have 2 skills right now, Rising Slash and this little Demonic Pierce, which I'm going to be just spamming because the little outer ring in the bottom there is constantly regenerating as we're doing damage.
Right, okay. So it's use your abilities because it's always recharging.
Yeah. Exactly. And for this fight specifically, the orange bar is the thing that it's trying to draw your attention to, where you can do a super. As long as you have even 1 pixel left, you can start your super move and just get a bunch of fancy effects flying everywhere.
Just kill everyone around you. Screen clear.
So yeah, this is constantly shooting out these little ads, but like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
They're there so you can build up your super meter.
Right. Their ability and energy health packs on the go.
Yes, exactly. I'm gonna try and hit it. Yeah, right when it's near the end. It's for maximum efficiency here.
Right. Yeah.
Skill finish. He did.
East games always control really smoothly.
They feel real nice. It feels good.
I think there was an interview once in the earlier East games where they said the very first thing they do with all their games is they make the character move around. And if that doesn't feel good, they don't proceed to the next
I'm doing
step.
right now.
Yeah.
I'm spinning that stick.
Yeah.
You get a double jump. You can loop dodge rolls all day long. When you're falling, you can just keep looping dodge rolls because it's like, who cares?
Right. And in East 1, you just like ran into things to attack, but that still feels fun.
They've moved on a little bit since then, but we have the appeal. You're dungeon crawling, you're fighting, and you're exploring. So this is a very tiny dungeon, but it feels good to see that 100% and that 3 out of 3. And I'm
man.
Yes, I'm done. Everything is complete. I can move on. We can see that there's this, other save point here which hasn't been activated, but that's because I just didn't walk into it. I can go back and activate it. It's fine. This is all just I've passed this part anyways. But our little exit's over here. We can get back into the town. For the most part, the game revolves, I'd say, about 60 or 70%, all within the gigantic prison city of Baltuk. And the East games, as they go, they always have their, real-world analogs. They're extremely thinly veiled ones, where you have literally it's just the Roman Empire, except it's spelled with a U, so it's Rom. But then they just call them Romans. Like, okay. This is a lot of the conflict between. We can get a little bit of the map here of there's the the city of Balduke, which you're
big city.
The curse keeps you within the city walls, and breaking the curse is kind of like the whole point of the game, or at least learning more about the curse. Also, I fully enjoy the fact that they acknowledge that the other weird stuff that happened in the previous games happened, and it's very strange that Adol is world renowned and has nothing to show for it, but so what? Yeah, a lot of this, the reason that Rome even wants you captured in the first place. There's political intrigue. It has to do. It's the flavor of this is Rome, but also England and France, 100 Years' War stuff.
Okay.
So it's all kind of a mishmash of that. We have a character that's basically Joan of Arc, but like anime and a superhero, and some other characters like that. And there's like war for independence, but then also some ill magic crap going on. And then, of course, Adol just kind of stuck in it and is just really into it because it's like, all right, new adventure. Dogi's there, and he's just happy to be in a city instead of like stuck on an island or in a cave or something.
Or in just a little podunk town.
There's like a little spot down here where a hideout will be set up in a little bit here. I'm gonna load into a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess technically spoilers. The party members they act as two different things. One, damage typing and stuff like that, and just different flavors for characters. Mm-hmm. They all have different superpowers specific to them, and those kind of act as your Metroidvania style power-ups. We'll go to the Dandelion here, which is our our secret base of operations.
How are you outside of the city?
There's plot stuff. Like I said, it's only about 70%. You start trying to kind of push the boundaries, actually literally, about where you can go. And it's also related to the plot, naturally. You're trying to figure out how far can we go, how can we break the curse, can we push the boundaries of where we're allowed to go. But, gameplay wise, it's like you're stuck in a zone until you can, get to the story triggers for it.
Right.
I do want to talk to Dogi here. I'm gonna do a Grimwald Reprisal, sort of a 7-wave Grimwald Reprisal, and there's gonna be like a lot of sound effects and special effects and some stuff going on. So if you have any questions, just go for it. This is sort of the other main, I guess, kind of mini game, but it's more like tower defense wave stuff. There's a lot more icons on the screen.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, just let me know.
So,
it's gonna get a little Dynasty Warrior-y.
Yeah, it already kind of looks it. So, do all the characters have pretty different play styles, or is it more or less just variations on a theme?
I'd say it's different enough. They all have Flash Guard and Dodge, which they kind of do at any time.
Right.
So, like, this character here is obviously, like, this big smashy person, has lots of flashy, like, smashing attacks. But, like, this person here is all about piercing attacks from a distance. So all of their stuff here is going to be, like, sick lasers, which I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. He's kind of he's pretty fragile, all things considered. Oh, he's kind of point that way. That's fine. Okay.
Well, a lot of them spawned in the boss, so.
Let's see. I'm gonna turn this to Swift Raid. Swift Raid is good because it has a lot of forward momentum, and I'm trying to get to two places. These skills I'm using right now, Prisoners of Grass, pull things in, and then these other two. It's just the way I like to set up these skills is because it's very. Sometimes it's hard to know what's good or not.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you're just like, I'll just spam some stuff. So I try and interpret it based on, and this is just personal preference, about the directionality of the attacks. So the triangle stuff, since that's the top button, I want it to be like uppercuts or rising slashes or things like that. For the square, which is on the left, I want it to be like direct damage, like projectiles or stingers, stuff that moves me forward, usually that kind of thing. And then I like to have like the circle just be things that are whatever the highest either break or SP cost is, so like the big one. So it's like, all right, I know how to go over there if I wanted to hit. And then X is like if there's anything that has to do with like AoE or like a downward thrust or something like that. I feel like that's a good way to just kind of, because a lot of this looks like nonsense unless unless you have a pretty good idea of just like the muscle memory of what things you want to be trying to do.
Right.
Like I can put them on defense just so I can see just some fun numbers appear, but then we can switch them back to offense just to go back into it. We finished a wave. There we go. Didn't get any bonuses for doing flashcards.
It's really cool to see these characters because now I understand the anime references that people have been making on the internet. It's
I would recommend going
from.
If you're playing this game, I think you should. It's a recommendation after all. Go into the volume settings, crank that BGM, and turn this other stuff down. It's fine, but the sound effects are a lot.
Yeah,
and you want to hear that good butt rock.
It's yeah. It's Falcon, like, of course.
Yeah, there's a lot of just double bass power metal stuff. But even in the soundtrack, there's a song that I'm going to probably play now over the edit, which is called Marionette Marionette. You can see I have temporary 0 SP cost. It's one of the abilities from the teammates in the upper right corner. Those happen passively. Not even going to worry about trying to. Oh, good. I got a flash moves. Let's finish this off. I also have an ability that doesn't expend my entire meter when I'm using those. Anyways, it's still an RPG. So, you know, you got different things going on here. I can't change equipment in the middle of this particular fight, but yeah, you know, accessories. So you get some new not guns, but I guess technically some people do have guns. But
new weapon.
You get a new sword, forge an upgrade. You know,
right?
Get a new meal. Go cook everything. Just do all the stuff.
So it's a Tales game as well as.
There's a little bit of element of that too. I also appreciate that I did mention it was kind of like an Ubisoft Lite. Got that flashcard. Flashcard also gives you 100% crit rate while it's on the screen, so useful.
Yeah.
And for this next wave to appear and just do a little, just let that all do his thing. Sorry, I got distracted. Lost my train of thought. There's a lot of flashing lights on the screen. I just had to pay attention.
I lost my train of thought as well because of all the flashing lights. Talking about flashcard gives you.
Yeah, it gives you 100% crit rate.
Right.
Yeah, I know I was halfway through making a point before that, but again, it just went out of my brain.
Right.
So it's one of those days.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I just want to, see. Oh, the Ubisoft stuff. Like I said, it's kind of like an Ubisoft Lite in a lot in a ways with the way the open world works in the city. This also goes towards my point about like, man, I really wish it's had like a. Hopefully I can get a thing in here. About how I wish that it had a... There we go. Wish it had like a higher budget.
Right.
You know? Because like everything feels nice, but you can tell where they spent the budget. And like, I get it. It's the responsible thing to do.
To spend it on the things that make the play good.
That make the most sense. Like some of the environments are kind of gray, bland, almost like a PS2 kind of game quality.
So it's going for that Code Vein feel.
Yeah, there's definitely some Code Vein, if you can tell from the costuming of the characters. But it never feels like a waste. It just seems like, okay, obviously, this part has. It's like the time is spent on making sure that there's huge bosses, that the music's good, that like the anime portraits for all of the people you meet is on point. So you can just have like, this is some good anime art just for all the characters, even if some of the idle animations and stuff are a little weird. Or I think a good example would be like how when this guy's shooting lasers at me. Hold on, let me just.
I do want to say while I'm thinking about it again for the third time, the enemy design is really, really interesting. I like the enemy design.
Yeah, they have distinct types. These weird creatures are the Lemures, which appear in the Grimwald. almost exclusively. Almost. And they have their own kind of weird look. Just get another guy in here. Nope. Time around. Tried to. But I think we can actually take a quick look at some of the monsters here. Like this guy.
Ratu.
Terrifying. Ratu. The Cloaca Maxima. That's great. It's just a great name. If you're in a Roman prison city and you want to fancy up the word for it's a sewer, that is a great way to do it.
Doesn't that just mean big hole?
Limerus here. So we have they have this kind of weird, purple and turquoise stuff, and they get weirder and weirder as you go along in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You got this crazy guy.
I like him.
You can also try and match weaknesses. Like this particular guy is weak to strike damage, yellow damage, which is what I have currently on the UFA. Get in here and do these particular guys. Oh, these are slash. So that's just add all specialty.
Mm-hmm.
If you do there's the okay. We just throw them, break them. So the enemies also have a break system where you do enough damage when they're weakness, and then it puts them in a stun state. It's more important for bosses, really.
Right. So is Dogi in your party right now?
No. Dogi is not a fighter, but the sort of NPCs that don't fight along with you literally in the field, the way that they kind of work them into the gameplay is that they have their own storylines where you can raise their affinity. So there's also kind of a social, it's not quite Persona or something like that, but there's an element of raise their affinity to kind of get the ending of their story. And then each one of them has a special passive effect that just happens when you're in these sort of special missions like we're doing now.
Okay.
Those are the things that are charging up in the corner. So
All right.
Dogi's got some ability, which I honestly never pay attention to at all. It's completely just like, it happens, no big deal.
Nice.
Like I'm not intentionally trying to time my hits with the Dogi things.
Right.
Right now I have one that's very useful, which is unlimited SP. Unfortunately, it triggered right at the end, so I can just spam whatever the highest damage thing I have and just kind of spam the crap out of it. There's 7 waves in this, by the way.
Huh. So I do take issue with you saying Dogi is not a fighter.
He is not a fighter in this game.
But
He's
is
more of a small business owner.
in this one. But he definitely has done some good punching of things in the East game.
For sure. His reputation as the Wall Crusher does come up in the story, which is nice.
Nice.
They fully acknowledge that East. This is the 9th East game, in a way that like a Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy just isn't. It's like, well, I mean.
Well, Final Fantasy, they kind of established early it was going to be a whole bunch of different worlds.
Yeah, I mean, Dragon Quest has its miniature connections and trilogies and whatnot, but overall, it's just. I mean, Dragon Quest they're just fairy tales.
Yeah,
pretty much disconnected. Hero and Ultimate Evil and Legendary, and there you go.
Maybe
what
a
else
touching story about death and the lost time and identity and all that, and about watching your kids put themselves in danger. It's weird, but
also maybe you'll go to Hogwarts. So sometimes your dad dies, and sometimes you go to Hogwarts. It just depends.
That's a real mixed bag. And sometimes you get to meet Ragnar. So, is this
his beautiful
boss?
purple? Yeah. This is the final boss of this particular.
Wow, that is a real Baphomet looking.
It is.
Boss
it's got
design.
Ooh, got the guard. Yes. Also, when you have the guard effect in, you're invincible. Same thing with flash move. You typically can chain these. If you give a flash move immediately into a guard, you can kind of keep it going, which is nice.
Right.
Oh,
that's what their design reminds me of. It's like the Overwatch or Fortnite interpretation of Bayonetta monsters.
Yes. Okay, I can see that. There's definitely a Bayonetta quality to these.
Right, but it's not like
inhabitants
horrifically
here.
over detailed. It's like, oh, they did it anime.
It certainly did. As opposed to the notably non-anime Bayonetta.
Hey, they at least kind of look like people. All right.
Yes. Got it. Okay. Got all the decoys still there.
Mhm.
Oh, Tito, you're adorable. I like a lot of the characters that you pick up. This like I said, because it has a lot of similarities to Ys 8. And I think of just like, engine and design wise. It even has similarities in the sense of like a sort of secondary storyline where you have a kind of different main character. This is definitely not the same as it was in Lacrimosa of Dana, because you're switching back and forth between Adol and Dana and trying to figure out how they connect. But I won't spoil that here, because I think that I think it adds like the end of chapter 1 or 2 when you get the first alternate perspective, and you're like, oh, I want to know what's going on now. I was like, I am interested. Tell me more.
Ys is pretty good about that, yeah. Even if the stories aren't necessarily super unique, they are.
That is a doll. Let's talk to Arch here.
Wait, what?
I think that Arch's just yelling Adol every time you talk to her is just really cute. Arch. You're just a cool guy with red hair sometimes. You take in orphans, and you take in widows, and you take in weird old like washed up freedom fighters and like shady black market merchants. You just get an eclectic bunch, and they just kind of congregate around you, and their lives are all transformed for the better by
being around Adol,
having
yeah.
deep conversations with the main character that doesn't ever speak. Although it's not that he's silent, it's just that they don't voice act him, except when they do, which is weird. I feel like they should probably just
Voice act
they
him.
have a voice actor. He does call outs for all of his moves, obviously in the field, and like he'll have like 3 lines of dialogue. They'll just be like, yeah, or what's that, or how, or huh, or you don't say. Even though like the actual dialogue is clearly more complicated than that. I digress. I'll just kind of load up this earlier save and just kind of bounce around the few areas I have access to.
While I do the spiel stuff.
Oh, I know. I can finally finish that point I was going to make that I kept getting distracted because there's flashing lights on the screen, which is that it's like the map implies there's like a open world element to it as you open up districts and whatnot. I appreciate the fact that it is not impossible or insurmountable to get the things. Sometimes you don't want to collect the things because you're like, there's too many things. But sometimes you're like, I could collect those things. It's just right there. I'm gonna pick up that thing.
Right.
And it's extremely detailed about what things are in the place you're at. What things are in the place that you're not at. What is the overall thingness that you have explored so far? It's like there's 68 treasures in the city entirely. And like, what about this one specifically? 3 out of 9.
Oh.
There's the graffiti and the petals, and you get tools in order to make finding them easier. And I was like, oh, it was also nice to have completely collected everything, if you're into that, before like hour 120. You're like halfway through the game and you've already collected all the stuff in the city, and it's like, oh yeah, that's because there was just that amount, there was that much, and that's all there was. There wasn't like secretly, so like the petals as an example, there's no petals outside the city. There's not like a secret zone where there's a secret petal that was not listed somewhere.
Right.
You have this great the great journal system with the records, and it's just like, here's your exploration tab. And it's like, here's what you're looking at. Here's your numbers. You want these numbers to go up? You just then do it. Appreciate that. All right.
And the fact that you can finish it before 120 hours in means that you can actually enjoy the rewards instead of getting the ultimate god killer sword when you're done with literally everything.
Yeah, after you've already finished like the super boss. Like, well,
yeah,
it would have been nice if I'd gotten that a little bit earlier. So yeah, I'm just running around.
Right.
We can do the outro.
If you've enjoyed this and the other things that we do, please consider supporting us on Patreon. It is the most direct way to support us. You can also do the YouTube stuff with the liking, commenting, and subscribing. We got a Discord and all that. And we love making this stuff for y'all, and all those things make it easier.
At all. I mean, East 9.
Monstrum Nox? Or sorry, Monstrum Nox.
It's Monstrum Nox. There you go. You had to do the whisper thing. That's the brand. Okay.
That's the brand. We can't change the brand.